Hello, I'm with Sid, and I want to talk a little bit about coping with the NSA. This is, of course, a very deep and broad subject. It's sort of like the Pacific Ocean. Well, the first and most important thing is the NSA is, of course, a threat. And it's important to remain calm in the face of this threat and not to simply give in either on the one hand to apathy and, just total inertia, not doing anything, or on the other hand to blind frenzy and just doing everything conceivable and imagining that it will somehow or other change the situation. Now, we have to hope that the governments of Europe will take some strong measures in this, ultimately confrontation with the United States. However, there are things that the individual can do right now and that institutions and organizations can do right now that will make life more difficult for the NSA. Well, one of the most simple things to observe is that when you're selecting a password or a key for encryption or something, you should never use anything that is easy to remember. This is because that kind of a password is vulnerable to the so-called dictionary attack. That is to say, they simply try out all the words in the dictionary mixed with all sorts of punctuation marks and numerals and whatnot. They just try them all out, and that only takes a few minutes on a modern PC. So never ever do that. Never ever use a proper name or anything like that for your password. Instead, you should use a random number device, for an example, the seconds on a digital clock, to come up with a nice long string of random numbers. And that you write down on a piece of paper, and you keep that piece of paper on your person or securely locked up. This already makes life much more difficult for the NSA. Another thing to keep in mind, of course, is that there are various encryption systems, and for an example, the S-MIME system has a hierarchical scheme of issuing certificates, and because of that, it is very likely that it has already been penetrated by the NSA, because of course they only have to go to the top of the hierarchy and put pressure on them, and perhaps they can even obtain a court order and get them to reveal all the secret codes, all the secret keys. However, Pretty Good Privacy, PGP, has a more federal, a flatter structure. That is to say, there is no one particular place that issues the certificates to the others, and because of that, it is probably still secure. So you should use Pretty Good Privacy. And in general, for individuals and for organizations, including the institutions of the European Union, obviously open source software is the way to go. This is the software that is the most resistant to having spyware introduced in it in some obscure corner or so. This is all in all the safest software, and it also has the added nice effect by using that we're in effect boycotting big American IT corporations, and that is a good thing. That is a good thing. They have been collaborating with the NSA, and they deserve to have their profits cut. That's something that might help them to rethink their attitude. In fact, of course, in general, various boycotts against American products and services would be one good grassroots answer from Europe, which would also help to encourage our governments to do what is actually their duty, namely to protect our fundamental rights.